Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu amma ba'd. A'udzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. ونزلنا عليك الكتاب تبيانا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة وبشرى للمسلمين صدق الله العظيم. سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are meeting after a long time. The last time we met was when we discussed about the Islamic eschatological analysis of global events. That was for the last week of November. Since then, we had announced back then as well that we intended to do these analysis on a monthly basis instead of the weekly basis. So this is already mid-Jan 2015. So we'll do the analysis for the month of December 2014. We have to move a bit rapidly since we are doing a monthly analysis. We will discuss about those issues which need our attention. There will be issues which are repeated in nature, the essence of which we have discussed in the past, and we will not repeat the discussion if it's not absolutely essential. For those which need a bit of touching upon, we'll do so. And for those which do require a detailed analysis, we'll do so. So we will not even cover all days of December, only those days which need some attention. So we'll start with December 1, 2014. On 1st of December 2014, Monday, there are a few news items which we have discussed about in the past. These are sort of repeated in the sense that the analysis is repeated, nothing much to discuss about, and we skip and go ahead. We move ahead with December 2 and we reach December 3. On December 3, there is a news item which we will discuss, albeit briefly. This is about Lebanon claiming that they have captured ISIS chief's wife and son. Now, what's going on over here? We have to understand the game plan. As I said, we will analyze this topic, but we will do so briefly. Look, the primary purpose of this news item is to confuse people. And I'll give you the hidden or the subtle objective as well. So when we read the news, this news, it seems to us that the struggle which the Western world or the Zionist world was waging against ISIS, they are actually cornering ISIS to an extent. They are able to do so. This is only the eyewash. In actuality, we know that the ISIS is in fact a front organization of the Zionists themselves. We have known this for quite a long time, and I think the analysis provided thus far made it abundantly clear as well. What I had not disclosed, however, was about this news. It's not news to me. I have known this for a long time now, but I had refrained from making this disclosure so that it might not have some negative repercussions for those who are not already aware. But as days are passing by, more things are becoming clear, more things are becoming known, people are becoming aware. So I might just let you know about this. Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi and the organization ISIS, that part we have disclosed very clearly that it's a Zionist organization. The analysis that has been thus far should suffice. But basically this person himself, he is not Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, he is a person who goes by the name Simon Elliot. He is a Jew, and this is being exposed in the media. Now, what to do in this scenario when more and more and more people are getting to know about this, they have to create a situation whereby they can influence people that this is basically what they would call or like to call as a conspiracy theory. Every time when truth is being exposed, they like to portray it as conspiracy theory. So to create, to sustain the confusion at the optimum level, optimum for them, that is, they just want to rubbish that thing. Okay, all those things which you've been reading are not correct. Don't get influenced by it. Rather, look, we are actually cornering ISIS. We are detaining uh, the ISIS chief's wife, son. We're doing these things. So this is it. This is the subtle objective, to hide the truth. And the the main purpose in the media to display this news was to just maintain that sort of status quo, maintain that sort of information or assumption, that sort of mindset that basically the West is actually at in conflict with ISIS, which it is not. So that's the main purpose of this news. We move ahead with December 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we reach December 10, where we want to pick up our next important piece of information. On December 10, there is a report that Senate report accuses CIA of lies and brutality. This will be elaborated in the next day's news, that is December 11. So we leave you with this information that CIA as an organization, the lies and the brutalities that it has committed. With this information, we just move ahead with December 11. On December 11, we have this report in details. What I'd like to do is to read it out for you, and what I'd like to do is to read out this report for you. CIA report sparks prosecution calls. A Senate Intelligence Committee report details CIA's interrogation techniques. Harrowing tales. There are about 10 incidents which are reported. So the number one, detainee Abu Huzaifa was subjected to ice water baths and 66 hours of standing sleep deprivation before CIA found they had the wrong man. Number two, President Bush in 2006 expressed discomfort with an image of a detainee chained to the ceiling, clothed in a diaper. Number three, the CIA used rectal feeding and rectal rehydration on at least 5 detainees, even though detainee Majid Khan was cooperating. CIA subjected him to involuntary rectal feeding and hydration and would puree his lunch tray, which was then rectally infused. Number 4. CIA interrogators threatened to harm family members to at least 3 detainees. In one case, a detainee was told that his mother's throat would be cut. Number 5. The CIA apprehended 2 foreigners working for a partner government allied with the agency. They were subjected to sleep deprivation and dietary manipulation. Number 6. Abu Zubaydah, the CIA's first detainee, spent 266 hours in a coffin-sized confinement box. Number 7. When Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, who was waterboarded 183 times, tried to breathe during the procedure, interrogators held his lips and poured water over his mouth. The Senate committee found a photo of what looked like a well-used waterboarding station at a site where there was no reported use of the technique. The CIA could not explain the presence of the waterboard. Number 9. Of the at least 26 detainees who were wrongfully held, one was intellectually challenged. Interrogators taped this detainee crying and used it as a leverage against one of his relatives. Number 10. CIA officers would strip a detainee naked, shackle him in the standing position for up to 72 hours, and douse him repeatedly with cold water. So we'll just summarize the contents of this report for you. There are about 10 incidents reported over here, but to make it brief, we'll just narrate the primary techniques they used. They have tortured people with sleep deprivation techniques, 72 hours of standing sleep deprivation, in some cases more, some cases less, 266 hours, a person subjected to a coffin-sized confinement box, 266 hours. Then 183 times a person has been waterboarded when he tried to breathe. Water was forced on his face and his lips were held. Uh, they were, in some cases, they were tied to the ceiling in a diaper. In some cases, as filthy as a rectal, dietary, and hydration infusion has taken place, even though some of the detainees were cooperating. These are some of the brutalities which puts even what is usually referred to as brutality to shame. Do you find a pattern which is consistent with the sort of brutalities the CIA has done in the past and what the ISIS is doing? You can get an even stronger link if you just think for a while and reflect on what we have discussed thus far. So these are some of the things which you need to focus on. December 11, this was the primary news which I wanted to focus on. Besides this, there isn't much really which demands our attention. We move ahead with December 12, 13, and we reach December 14, where there is a report that ISIS justifies making non-Muslims sex slaves. I think we have discussed about this disturbing issue of making non-Muslim ladies as sex slaves in the past, but this demands our attention once again for the simple reason that the report suggests or the report narrates that ISIS has actually used the Quran as a basis for its justification in making the non-Muslim non-believers captives as sex slaves. This is so filthy. This is so, I mean, I don't have words, but one thing's for clear that ISIS and that part of the analysis has done and been repeated over and over again. You can refer to some of my previous analysis for the purpose that ISIS shows its true colors for who they are. It's the same oppressive Zionist regime, part of the Zionist regime, working on behalf of the Zionist masters who can just manipulate anything and everything to suit their needs. Well, what about the justification and the Quran being used? It's absolutely rubbish. There is no justification from anywhere from the Quran or from the Hadith for such an action. And we thoroughly condemn such an act. I mean, more than condemning, we also substantiate our claim again and over again that the ISIS is basically a Zionist outfit working for the Zionist masters. We move ahead with December 15, 16 and reach December 17. There is this interesting news report that there is a panic in Russia as ruble hits new low. Now there are two parts to this statement. First, that the ruble hits new low. Ruble is, by the way, the currency of Russia. There is this part that the ruble hits new low, and the second part is there is panic in Russia. I mean, is the statement true or is it wrong? Actually, a part of the statement is correct. The other part isn't what it claims to be. So yes, there is. I mean, the ruble has hit an all-time low. I mean, hits a new low, that's true. But because of this, there isn't panic as such in Russia as what the Zionist media is trying to project. There is no panic in Russia. In fact, many common people have been interviewed since this situation about what they feel about the Russian economy. They say they don't feel any impact. So if there is an adverse impact on an economy, should the people feel it on themselves or not? They should, but there isn't. Now, Putin, he is a very clever leader. What he has essentially done, we'll just go into the analysis without just reading every line and every page of the report. So now, since the Western world has tried to impose economic sanctions, Putin in turn, what he has decided is stop dependency on exports and imports. That is to say, reach a self-sufficiency nation, as a nation, reach the stage or the state of self-sufficiency. If that happens, I'm not bothered, I'm not concerned whether my paper-based currency hits an all-time low or it doesn't. Whether it hits a high or a low, it doesn't matter. It doesn't impact me at all. What essentially happens is prices relative to the ruble remains constant inside that economy. When you want to purchase certain things from other nations using the ruble, at that time, at that time you'll feel the impact, you'll feel the pinch. But if you are working for a self-sustaining, self-sustainable, self-sufficiency inside your nation, it doesn't impact you at all. And that's what it is trying to do. So much so that's also for international trade, it's exporting certain things only on behalf of gold, of petrol, of oil, things which have real value. So these are very strategic steps which Russia is taking to counter the Zionist ploy to destabilize Russia economically. So these are some of the things which we have spoken about in the past. I mean, as far as the economic policies and the political aspects which Islam has very much in its legislation, in its framework, which we have long forgotten. There is a necessity that we have a global leader who is able to exercise these aspects of Islam, these so very important aspects of Islam, to restore that stability, that much needed stability in the world scenario. So Russia is is basically responding very strategically to the strategic plots which have been conspired against Russia by the Zionist West. So that's the piece of news. It's very interesting developments taking place over here. The next day, December 18, is probably the most disturbing news for the entire month, what has since then been referred to as Peshawar attacks. The Taliban, they have massacred some 100 plus school children, killed all of them, I mean most of them, whomever they could catch hold of. So much so that a young boy of class 9 who missed his school because of oversleeping was the only survivor in the entire class 9. That's the level of brutality they have carried out. And these are the people whom some people support as thinking that they are good people and they are representatives of Islam. Now, there are divisions in Taliban. We don't want to go into those issues. But to find justifications for these acts, as some Muslims have tried to do, I mean, what should I say about them? They are seriously intellectually challenged. That's the only word I find for them. There is no justification for such an act. So much so that teachers have been killed, raped in front of the students before being killed. I mean, there's no justification. They have tried to find justification on the basis of story which they find in the Quran, where there is no analogy as such. It's completely fallacious, completely sick. These people are sick. Anyone who has tried to find justification for the Peshawar attacks, they are mentally sick. Sick people, psychos they are. They're basically sick people, they're psychos, those who have tried to find justification for such a massacre. What is the intent? Those are different issues. But whether this act, I mean, claiming that they have acted like Khizr alayhi salam, is an insult to Islam and it's an insult to Khizr alayhi salam. Taliban being the Khizr. Amazingly stupid. It's a logic of a donkey. I mean, a donkey should be ashamed, will be ashamed that men can, I mean, it falls below the intellectual capabilities of a donkey even to equate these people with that of the example of Khizr alayhi salam. I don't want to speak anything more about the subject. It's absolutely disgrace and shameful act. Okay, what could be the possible reasons? What could be the possible motives? The act itself cannot be justified. There cannot be any justification for this act itself. We can investigate the reasons, we can give the reasons, and we can give the explanations that, okay, they are trying to destabilize Pakistan internally so that there is a civil war between the Sunnis and the Shias. Those are explanations, but any explanation or whatever does not, cannot justify this act itself. That's the point I'm trying to make. So I think this is clear enough as far as my standpoint or my viewpoint is about this incident. December 19, and in the next few days, there are various reports related to the Peshawar attacks, but besides these, there's not much else to discuss about which demands our attention. So we move ahead with December 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and we reach December 25. On December 25, besides the reports, I find something interesting, and this again will continue till the end of December. It's about a coverage, a general coverage of the entire year's important news. But we intend to make a separate video on 2014, on the analysis of 2014 in general, a short video. So we intend to capture this part of the news over there in the separate video. So we'll get back to that and we move ahead for now. December 26, 27, we move ahead and we reach December 28, where we have actually an insider's story of ISIS. This is a child basically who says after he has managed to escape from the ISIS that he was so brainwashed that the ISIS brainwashed him by making statements such as kill them, kill the infidels, or they'll rape your mother. And then when he joined ISIS, he was a part of them, he realized that ISIS is not at all what it claims to be. So we have these reports from many people now, which are actually just exposing ISIS badly for ISIS. But then a lot of the views are not coming to us because ISIS have been able to kill a majority of those who are trying to escape from the ISIS. So this is about an insider's testimony, which is useful for us in gathering further evidence against ISIS. So that's it. December 29, there is another tragic incident about a missing airplane. A few months back, if you remember, there was another similar incident. We express our grief at this second similar incident, which has happened in months' time, in a few months' time. So these are very saddening news to all of us. That's all we have for this day. We move ahead with December 30 and we reach the last day of December 31. It ends on a sad note. The year 2014, I'm referring to, it ends on a sad note. The worst is actually has come true about the missing plane. The wreckage is found and we express grief once again about this incident. This was more or less it about the news which we wanted to cover from an Islamic eschatological perspective, those global events which needed our attention. We have tried to keep it short, but then because it was a month-long discussion, it got a bit elongated more than what we wanted to. But then it is reasonably of a reasonable duration, of a reasonable timeline, and inshallah we'll resume our other activities as well. We are already on our way with our other activities. It's just that we have not been able to communicate with you such of our activities as requires to be made available, made aware, that you should be made aware of and should put in the public domain. We'll do so soon, inshallah. So that's it for the entire month of December 2014. We'll have a short clip about the entire year of entire year of 2014, and we'll put it shortly after this video. But then a lot of things are already happening. We are already midway Jan 2015 and a lot of things are happening. We hope to cover the global events, the Islamic eschatological analysis perspective in early Feb, not delayed till mid Feb. But then the other things, the other activities which we are on with, we'll just keep on posting videos and updates in our website, channel, and blog, inshallah. So that's it for now. Wa akhiru dawana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.